Today's stories are The Booth in the Back and In Some Small Way Remembered by Dr. Jordan Moller. The Booth in the Back. "Such fine detail," said Otis, the owner of the beer barrel Hofbrau said. "I don't know how you find these." Otis turned over the 1/72nd scale model of a B-17 Flying Fortress in his hands, marveling at the intricacy of how it must have been made, the hours that must have gone into it. "Oh, I get around," Otis's friend Theo said, "here and there, now and then." Ever since he could remember, Otis had been a fan of detailed models of warbirds from different conflicts. He'd even built 2 or 3 models himself and hung them up in the beer barrel Hofbrau ever since he'd bought the place, but found he no longer had either the patience or the time anymore, as running a bar didn't leave a lot of free time. One day his future friend Theo came into the bar, maybe some 3 years ago, and sat in the booth at the very back, carrying a box tied with string, which he set on the table in front of him. Derek had not yet come on shift yet to tend bar or tables, so Otis wandered over to Theo's table to see what he needed. Theo spoke first. "I came in here once before and noticed you liked these miniature aircraft and thought I'd add one to your collection, if you don't mind." "Not at all," Otis replied as Theo opened the box to reveal a superb P-38 Lightning. "Wow, thanks," was all he could think of to say. "It's my pleasure," said Theo. "Glad to do it." And that's how their friendship began, with Theo popping into the Hofbrau periodically to present Otis with a new aeronautical find for hanging up in his bar, with Theo always dressed in a fashion that Otis could only describe as vaguely science-fictional. "Well, my friend," Theo began, "I must be on my way. Until next time," and with that, Theo was out the door with a smile. Otis went to get the thread, hooks, and ladder he used to hang his models from the ceiling of the bar. Once more, getting ready to climb the ladder to hang the B-17, he was amazed at the detail involved in its creation, and putting on his reading glasses, noticed how detailed the faces of the pilot figures were, almost as though they'd been frozen in terror at the moment they and their aircraft were compressed down to 1/72nd scale by mysterious forces. In Some Small Way Remembered. After 12 successful missions, Lieutenant Bert Wilkinson thought his shore leave would never come. Coming home for a while was a welcome break, and of course, on this, the last day of his leave, he just had to stop in for a smooth red bourbon at his favorite watering hole, the beer barrel Hofbrau. It was nice to stretch his legs out under his table. Of course, anywhere was a better place to stretch out than inside a cramped B-17G Flying Fortress. It was a plane that seemed to be designed with a crew of skinny teenagers in mind. The bartender Derek asked Bert if he needed a refill on his bourbon, which Bert declined. "I've got to fly in the morning. Got to get back to kicking Hitler's ass." "Gotcha," said Derek. "Go get him." Back over Germany, getting ready for their bombing run over a ball bearing factory in Dusseldorf, Lieutenant Wilkinson noticed the conspicuous absence of any opposing German fighter squadrons in the sky. He had expected them long before now. "Sir, what the hell is that?" asked Bert's co-pilot Stu. "Beats the hell out of me," replied Bert, as the glowing saucer-shaped craft had suddenly appeared off their starboard wing, keeping pace with the B-17G. All at once, the cockpit and the rest of the plane's interior was filled with an unearthly blue glow. so bright you could hardly see your hand in front of your face. Bert knew the plane was cramped, but his whole body began to feel like it was being compressed into itself, and he had the sense that it was happening to the plane as well as its contents, if the look of horror on his co-pilot's face was any indication. As the pain of what was happening to them became too extreme, Bert began to lose consciousness. But before he blacked out completely, he hoped that his mission, his crew, and he himself would be in some small way remembered.